Well, hello out there, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitch, and Facebook. And I'm not streaming to X today for some technical reason. My name is Frank Lavinia, and you can catch me at the on the socials there at Frank Digs Data, franksworld.com, datadriven.tv, and impactquantum.com. I did something this week I thought I'd never do. Signed up for TikTok. Andy Leonard kind of convinced me. I don't have any content there because I'm still trying to figure out why it's not getting along with Opus, my AI tool. And you may notice that the bar isn't blue like it usually is. Blue and white tend to be the franksworld.com colors. That's because this is Red Hat Summit Week. And you can check out what's going on there, where I do have the Opus videos working just fine. So there's been a number of announcements this week. I am in Maryland, obviously in the home office. This is not a deep fake. I'd like to think I'd have a cleaner desk if I were to deep fake it. But a couple of interesting things have come to mind. So one is some of the advancements that have come out this week. So this week has had the Red Hat Summit, Microsoft Build, and Google I/O are all happening simultaneously. So it's been an interesting week in terms of announcements and whatnot. Now, for Red Hat's part, I'm going to do a deeper dive into those announcements later. But the short of it is that Red Hat is going all in on AI. We have been going in all in AI, but now we're like just turning it up to 11. We have a couple of new products, inference server being kind of the obvious one, where basically it's an engine to run the inference of your large language models anywhere. We also have LLMD, which is another interesting product that I will be doing a deeper dive on a video either on this channel or the official Red Hat channel. We shall see. But while I'm talking about AI, I want to talk about AI, some of the crazy things going on here. So this is something that Google announced, and I haven't tracked the Microsoft announcements. I'm not being salty of Microsoft for, or for any reason, but this is called Google Flow. And this is a video I made. So check this out. Now, for some reason, where's the whole package? Here we go. That's the whole video. So it's basically started with the prompt of Dachshund in a spaceship, red Dachshund in a spaceship, to red Dachshund's playing with a dog toy, right? And my original vision for it was to have it kind of be a dream sequence, because we've all seen dogs dreaming and whatnot. So I thought this would be cool to kind of see that, like they do the kicking and be kind of cool to see them floating around. Now that didn't quite work out the way I wanted to, but think about how good this is, right? The dog doesn't sprout an extra leg. The dog, if you look very closely, the toy here does kind of change shape in a way that's not really natural. Or is that in this part here? Yeah, it's in this part. Something doesn't quite look right. If you look at this one, that's also pretty good. That's the one you see. It gets a little bit more volume than it really ought to. But I thought this one was interesting. It treats the dachshund like a dragon. Watch. Or like it's smoking or it's out in the cold. I do find it fascinating that this was released this week. And it is amazing what has, I mean, now the other video, let me show you this. So for those who don't know, a so-called friend bought a refrigerator from us and still hasn't paid us. And then when we asked about it around Christmas time, this lady went nuts on us. This has inspired 1,000 memes. It's also inspired a number of, this is the third one. 8 seconds of video. Here we go. But if you look, and I've done other videos with this particular theme because I'm not really upset about the money. I'm really upset about how this so-called friend treated my wife. But if you look, I mean, All right, so up here, a shelf does kind of appear magically there. Okay, so that's a little unnatural. If we go here, this looks largely pretty legit. There's one where, okay, so the doors look a little weird. There we go. So you see the doors move together. That's a little weird. But I mean, when you think about how good this is, so let's go and let's create a new project. Let's say an animated intro to a live stream for franksworld.com. Use AI elements and a cyberpunk aesthetic. So let's see what this does. And it's actually pretty quick in terms of how quickly this renders, which I have to say, I'm impressed by the quality of this. And a lot of people, have been very critical of Google AI because, eating one rock a day to get your minerals, putting glue on your pizza. And those are all very real examples. Not to say they're depictions of World War II soldiers. Brought them quite a bit of controversy, but they've really turned things around. I'm really impressed with how they have done that. So, Computex, that was the other conference this week. All right, so we're at 37%. But that gets me thinking, if you look at all this, here we go. Let's go to the videotape. All right, so here we go. Okay, that's a little strange. It is still struggling with text and typography, but I do like the overall design. All right, so I'm going to stop the screen sharing and talk about, in light of all of these advancements, all these innovations that we're seeing, there's still something very basic. Now, if you hear my voice, you've heard me complain about it, you've heard me coughing, et cetera, you know that this year the pollen season has been particularly brutal on me. In fact, it's raining today, which is the only reason I have any kind of semblance of a voice. So I want to show you a frustration. So I have an Android phone. I also have Android Auto. And while I'm driving, I discovered that, well, let me show you. So I can ask Alexa, pull up the app. I can also do it on the device. But this will be closer. So I will ask her, hey, what's the pollen count today?
Today, there will be high levels of grass pollen, moderate levels of tree pollen. Levels of ragweed pollen will be low.
All right. That's exactly all I needed. Now, let's do the same thing with Google Voice Assist, which is the one that's built into Android Auto. What's the pollen count today? It's not going to talk to me. All right. So, in the absence of it actually answering me like it would in the car, this is what I get. And I realize that's backwards, but it's basically saying pollen count measures the amount of pollen in the air at a specific time, usually reported in pollen grains per cubic centimeter. You can imagine my annoyance when I'm just driving and all of a sudden I'm going through somewhere and I have the windows up, but I start sneezing. I'm like, oh, did I go through some particular extra rural area where there's something that I'm allergic to? And I say, hey, what's the pollen count? And they'll say, a pollen count is the measure of pollen grains in the air. Well, thank you, Captain Obvious. Would not know what I do without you. All of which begs the question, particularly Google, right? And there's a reason why I focused on the Google things. Clearly, Google is capable of doing a better job. So I wonder what Gemini would say about that. All right. let's see, I will share my tab again. What's the pollen count today for, say, Baltimore? I love how you can see the thinking. All right, so this actually does the job. So this actually does the job. So they are capable of solving the problem. For one reason or the other, they haven't rolled it out to other products. Now, as someone who is an engineer, I can appreciate the engineering challenges of doing that, but I find it curious that it's taken this long. And I think that, well, one, they should be using inference server. They should be using Red Hat tools, right? Because that's really our specialty, is moving things into production faster. But I digress. It speaks to where I think a lot of the attention in AI is right now, in big tech and arguably in smaller tech as well, or in enterprises. Well, let me scratch that one. Where the focus in big tech now is implementation, driving fast and breaking things, or driving fast and not breaking things, or driving fast and not deploying new technology in other places, which, in fairness to these companies, is a big point of risk, right? Like if I'm going to um, add a feature to an existing product, that has higher risk than starting up a new product or a new research project, because some of the Google Flow is like it has the beta tag on it. But you get the idea. So I think that's why. Now, as a consumer of technology, I also find it annoying that I can have a much more intelligent conversation. I can have an intelligent conversation with the same company's products in different products, right? They're not all on the same level. Now, I know that there's an update coming for the Amazon Echo devices, but there are other things that I'll interact with her that I just have come to expect an AI should be able to process. That having been said, the best way to have a voice first experience is actually through the ChatGPT application, which I've written a lot about this, how I've made that my writing mechanism or idea capture, as well as Gemini does the same thing. I haven't tried Claude, but I would imagine it's the same thing. Now, the big question is, what are the engineering barriers that have made it such that the better, more advanced models haven't rolled out elsewhere? I suspect there's a lot more of them than we're aware of. There might also be a cost issue too, because running these models isn't exactly cheap. And for some products, the voice feature is a loss leader, right? Everything around the Amazon Echo is meant to help you do shopping, right? And you know, maybe upgrading that experience isn't really top of mind for them for whatever reason or another. So with that, I'm gonna go make myself some hot tea because I've spoken too much already. And I will ask you to go here. Go be sure to, well, first off, be sure to like, share, and subscribe here on whatever platform you're watching. Really helps a small channel like mine, be seen amongst the bigger channels, as well as go here and like, share, and subscribe. All the good stuff that we're doing at Red Hat AI. So I'm going to hold that like that. And with that in mind, I'm going to sign off and make myself some hot tea before my next meeting. You've been watching Frank's World. And here's my fancy outro graphic.